Shalom. All praise, honor, and glory going to Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Krakwadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutation to all you occupants out there pushing this truth with all honesty and sincerity. All right. Shalom to you very few sisters out there listening and learning. This is brother Nayap, and I'm back with a news update. All right, this is for fair use, for educational purposes only, and this is not for any kinds of monetary gain at all. This is for fair use. All right, it's some crazy, some crazy shit in every video. So
news that we've just received into our newsroom. So we're getting this information from multiple sources, both with Mayor Bowser and with MPD, telling us that as of 6 o'clock this evening, they strongly believe, sources both within the mayor's office and within Metro Police Department, that President Trump, come tomorrow, will deploy the National Guard along the streets of D.C. That is the information that is now coming into our newsroom about what is likely to happen tomorrow at that news conference. That, again, the president is expected to deploy the National Guard, the D.C. National Guard, in and around Washington. This, from what we're being told at this point, has never happened before and would mark a significant turn in events. But no doubt, the continuation of what has been several days of an escalation by the White House to officials in D.C. about...
Now, this happened to, this already happened, but, so this is a late video, but, everything will be clear at the end.
Complaints regarding crime, and even most recently, as we heard just a minute ago, about the homeless encampments that we've seen in and around the city as well. We are going to continue to work on this and monitor the situation. Orlando Dalvin, no doubt, gathering information around the city.
Israel just murdered an entire Al Jazeera crew. Israel just murdered an entire Al Jazeera crew, as in Israel just dropped a bomb on a tent housing a crew of journalists from Al Jazeera. Can you imagine for a second that any other group of journalists were murdered? Can you imagine what would happen if a CNN group of journalists, the entire crew, okay, the reporter, the cameraman, everybody were murdered? Can you imagine the public outcry? The worst part of this is that the journalists themselves have been saying that they know they're going to die, that they know that Israel is going to target and kill them, because Israel has been making it clear that it was going to target and kill them for years. These journalists have been watching as one after another, their friends and their colleagues have been murdered. It is a waiting game to see when their turn is coming. I have lost track of how many journalists Israel has murdered in this genocide, and it's not even anything new. It didn't even start with this genocide. Israel has been murdering Palestinian and Lebanese journalists for decades. Fuck Israel and fuck every single Zionist. Period, point blank, no ifs, ands, or buts. I don't give a shit. Fuck you. Israel just murdered an entire Al Jazeera crew.
She hot.
Yo! We got some sad news today, man. So if you haven't been paying attention, TikTok has begun rolling out age verification in the United States for users the system believes are underage. What does that even mean? What do you mean the system believes? It's either you're underage or you're not, bro. I don't even know what this means. How does it find out whether you're overage or underage? Is it by your interests? What happens if you're grown and you like anime or you like Roblox or you like, Pokemon or something? You're just going to automatically get flagged? So if your page gets flagged, you'll have to submit a credit card or ID along with selfies to access the app. These social media platforms get hacked all the time, so all of your sensitive information just being easily accessible is going to be a gold mine for hackers. They're trying to make it seem like, we're trying to protect the children, when in reality, they want to siphon your data, bro. They're getting biometric data and they're getting information, your name, where you live.
It's all control.
Your hide all of that stuff. This is not right. And it's not only TikTok that's doing this. YouTube is rolling out this feature. Spotify is doing the same thing. Even GTA, bro. This whole era of the internet being free and easily accessible is over with. We are now entering.
I want y'all to peep action too. Every day it's a wildfire. Every day it's a flood. Every day it's an earthquake. Every day there's a tsunami watch. Every day there's a tornado watch. All right. Every day. Every day, bro.
What the heck is about to happen? So this guy's cruising down downtown Albuquerque and sees these papers just scattered everywhere, all over. Someone just went through the previous night and just threw them all over. So he pulls over, picks one up, and reads it. And what he sees is absolutely unthinkable. And check this out. It says what to do in a riot. Turn off your phone. Hide your identity. Prepare for tear gas. And it gives you information on all kinds of stuff. This is absolutely wild. You flip it over, and when you flip it around, it says don't get caught. And it has a bunch of different instructions on what not to do, what to do. It's absolutely wild. Stuff like this is crazy. Best thing I could say is stay away from stuff like this. This is bad news. To be involved with this, and for all you know, it could be a setup by the feds. Who knows? I don't know, guys. This is actually super dangerous. I don't like to see this in Albuquerque. Repost. Shout out to Off Central on Instagram. I grabbed that from it. I appreciate it, guys. Video credit to them. We'll see.
Well, breaking fuck the news. Super early in the morning. You guys rarely see me on here this early. I know a lot of you do have work. A lot of you have lives. School starting back up if it hasn't started already for you. So I know a lot of motherfuckers is busy. But to give you guys a little context and updates on exactly some of the information that I was giving out last night, but just in one set video. Trump to hold a press event in D.C. on D.C. crime after threatening a federal takeover of the Capitol. And as we all know, he's already sent 15 different federal agencies to police the streets of D.C. without reporting on anything or saying anything. He did that over the weekend. Trump's remarks, this is what he stated. President Donald Trump is set to hold a press event at 10 a.m. and will address the crime in Washington. The D.C. mayor responded to this. Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser said in an MSNBC interview yesterday that comparing the city to a war-torn country is hyperbolic and false. Earlier, White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, the bald-head wonder, told News Nation Kelly Meyer that D.C. was more violent than Baghdad. We all know what we did in Baghdad. Look, add on to it, Trump is considering deploying 1,000 National Guard. Trump is considering deploying 1,000 National Guard troops to D.C. and can make an announcement as early as today, according to one defense official and two U.S. officials. The number of guard who would be assigned to is still in flux. The officials say most of the troops would likely be pulled from the D.C. National Guard. Officials stress that the decision is not final and no orders have been signed. This is part of the president's ongoing effort to increase security in the nation's capital. But the Guard would primarily be focused on supporting law enforcement with things like administrative help and protecting federal personnel and property, not engaged in direct law enforcement activities. Asked about the decision, a White House official told NBC News, "We won't get ahead of the president on any potential announcements, but the president has been clear that all options are on the table when it comes to making D.C. safe again." Trump's foreshadowed this decision on Wednesday when discussing crime in D.C., saying, "What a shame! What a sham! Rate of crime, oh no, my bad, what a shame. Early as fuck. What a shame. Rate of crime, the rate of muggings, killings, and everything else. We're not going to let it. And that includes bringing the National Guard, maybe very quickly too. So, like I said again, time now is about to be 7:28. I will be probably up here either before he comes on and says whatever the fuck he's gonna say, and I will give you the full breakdown on my Substack. I don't know what you got.
We have major breaking news this evening. The Trump administration will be firing up to 20% of the IRS's workforce beginning this evening. I've received a number of emails from a number of employees working at the IRS who said they received reduction in workforce notices. Now, here's what's the significant part. It's happening during tax season. Tax season ends on April 15th. This is the busiest time of year for the IRS, and well, they're about to terminate a lot of people. According to reports from the Associated Press, this could impact up to 20,000 employees. That's up to 25% of the entire IRS's workforce. It's going to be absolute chaos at the IRS during tax season. Yes, you have to still file, but this is all part of an effort by the Trump administration to stop investigating those who are tax cheats, the wealthier. And so tonight is the beginning of what is going to be a massive reduction in workforce. I've received a number of emails from a lot of you, and I will continue to provide you updates, so spread the word. What in the world is going on? Adults have started sucking on pacifiers in order to soothe their anxieties. American adults are sucking on pacifiers to get through stress at work, in traffic when they're having trouble sleeping, or during moments of pure burnout. Psychologists call this the regression phenomenon, which basically is the idea that when life gets overwhelming, people retreat into something that made them feel safe as kids. Online retailers are reporting sales of over 2,000 adult binkies per month, and they range in price from a couple dollars to $70 plus if you want a more luxury pacifier. Doctors and dentists have voiced their concerns with this new trend, saying that pacifiers are not made for adults and it could shift their teeth around. But I think we have bigger problems than that when adults are turning to binkies to relax themselves. As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below. What?
Well, breaking fuck the news. Everybody, everything we were screaming about has actually happened. Welcome to the Fourth Reich. I'm going to give you a breakdown. Me, bartender, and Christian just watched pretty much the entirety, not the whole thing. He started rambling at the end of Donald Trump's speech and about his military takeover of D.C. And yes, I said military takeover. Trump has said he's getting rid of the slums and the slums where criminals live. He knows it's not politically correct, but we are. He's going to change no cash bail in D.C. He's going to try to get rid of sanctuary cities in its entirety. 500 officers for multiple agencies and federal agencies are going to be working the streets of D.C. Formally declaring a public safety emergency on D.C. Attorney General Pam Bondi is taking control of the Metro Police Department, and everything wrong in D.C. is because of woke culture, and will bring the military if needed, is what he said at first. Then Pete Hegseth immediately stood up right after that and said, under the president's guise, they have mobilized the National Guard to the D.C. area and will bring other special forces to come into the D.C. area if needed. The U.S. Marshal will be in charge of everything, like, going on. A U.S. Marshal will be in charge of everything pretty much going on in the works of the D.C. area, along with Pam Bondi and Pete Hegseth. They will be removing all homeless encampments all over D.C. They will try their best to take care of the homeless and house them if they can. 800 National Guard are to help remove encampments. Judges are letting killers go. These are just highlights of shit that was said. They're going to go after the D.C. Council and the ridiculous rules and laws they've set for the District of Columbia. Executive Order Section 40, this is what Donald Trump signed, that gave him complete and total control to send the National Guard into D.C. Is Section 40 of the Home Rule Act. Also signed an executive presidential memo to utilize the National Guard, authorize state governors to use their National Guard as they see fit. Well, we fucking told you so. Welcome to the Fourth Reich.
So let me get this straight. The same guy who's been trying to get you and I to stop consuming beef and instead switch to a quote-unquote more sustainable alternative that being crickets, cockroaches, flying ants, things of that nature, as well as, of course, fake meat, lab-grown meat. Yeah, that guy right here, is now pushing for us to consume a non-butter-based butter, non-dairy-based butter. Now, you may be asking yourself, what is this? Is this some sort of, margarine? Is this vegetable oils? Well, no. As terrible as that is, no, it's much worse. Is this some sort of concoction created from, I don't know, almond milk or something like that? No, that's not what that is. This is a piece of carbon. This is a carbon-based butter that old Billy Boy has just invested millions of dollars into and is now trying to shill onto the rest of us. If nothing else told you that animal-based products were the best thing for you, it would be the push that this guy's got going on. Right? Same guy who delivered.
Breaking fuck the news. As you guys know, I live in Pittsburgh. I'm about 10, maybe 8 miles that direction. There's this little town called Clareton, PA, where there's a steel mill. And as of not too long ago, the steel mill exploded, and 2 people were killed in the immediate explosion, with dozens being injured. If you guys want to look up the footage, it's easy as searching up Clareton, PA, steel mill explosion. I'll keep you guys updated with more. Breaking fuck the news. As you guys know, I live in Pittsburgh. I'm about 10, maybe 8 miles that direction. There's this little town called Clareton, PA, where there's a steel mill. And as of not too long ago, the steel mill exploded, and 2 people were killed in the immediate explosion, with dozens being injured. If you guys want to look up the footage, it's easy as searching up Clareton, PA, steel mill explosion.
Donald Trump and Republicans are trying to reduce the age of consent for marriage to 14 years of age. In his press conference this morning before he federally seized D.C., he claimed that there were droves of violent teenagers causing crime and that any person 14 years old or up should be tried as an adult. But they are also changing the laws so that a 14-year-old girl would be eligible for marriage, and it would change how sex crimes are prosecuted. There are 4 states, Wyoming, Missouri, New Hampshire, and West Virginia, who have already written child marriage laws to allow for a 14-year-old to marry a grown adult, and any age discrepancy that would be charged as a sex crime will no longer be a crime. They claim that they have rewritten these laws to reduce abortions. What they are doing is legalizing pedophilia. And
You see? Esau trying to bring it back to the ancient world. Hey, man. I think Esau been looking at Game of Thrones a little bit too long. But he trying to bring that back. And a lot of women gonna have problems with this.
child marriage similar to the Taliban. Every Christian nationalist accusation that gay rights was going to legalize pedophilia was a confession, because they do not believe that women are people. They believe they're property, and that their only purpose is in service of men. Also, in light of the Christian nationalists now saying the quiet part.
Well, the word woman does mean property. So.
Out loud that they do not want women to vote. A 14-year-old cannot vote, but her adult husband will be able to, so he will by de facto be household voting for her. These are the same states that want to get rid of no-fault divorce so that she can never leave. And the younger they can trap them, when you're not old enough or wise enough or have enough experience to be able to get out of those situations, and they can entrap these young women sooner. They will have children much earlier and will be unable to pursue higher education and career options that would give them safety in the future. This is their plan, to make sure that all women are married off in their teens so that they cannot escape, so that they have babies young, and so that they are systemically abused by men. Again, they are doing the same thing that the Taliban is doing by allowing for child marriage. And
the only thing I gotta say is it's really just so-called white people just abusing, doing the majority. The most, I say, the nation that does it the most would be Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, right? Amalek and Esau, Edom. All right, you Edomites, you so-called Caucasians. All right, and y'all small hats. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Y'all small hats to be in the Middle East. Y'all do all that shit. All right, y'all do that shit. Y'all be beating on y'all women and things like that. That's why they was trying to escape. You know, that ain't happening in the black community. You read, I mean, like, it does, but not as much as it happened like with y'all. Like we're just not sick. Y'all just inherently wicked and evil and devilish.
Other thing is that it also allows for them to send teenage boys to prison a lot sooner. Here in Tennessee, there are counties that are no longer accepting doctor's notes for sicknesses, but if you miss more than 7 days, they take you to court. And if they are able to try you as an adult for repeated truancy, even if you are ill, they can send you to prison. They have shortened the pipeline from high school to prison to send young boys there, and now they are trying to come for young girls because we have only ever needed laws to prevent men from marrying children, and they are trying to make that legal. And how convenient that now that we know that Trump is in the Epstein files, they are trying to legalize the age of the girls we know he slept with because there are victims who have testified about it. And this comes after a representative in Utah, the President J. Stewart Adams, rewrote the law when his 18-year-old relative raped a 13-year-old. He rewrote the law so that if you're an 18-year-old but still in high school, it's not a felony. So an 18-year-old boy who assaults a 13-year-old, still a child, a 14-year-old girl can get married to a 40-year-old man, no sex crime. Republicans are the party of pedophiles. You have no moral standing. Every single accusation is a confession, and shame on you, particularly you.
Hey, just letting you know, it's in the Bible. Sex is marriage. All right, sex is marriage. It's not you know, the ceremony and all that. You know, yeah, but what confirms that? You know what I'm saying? Is sex. All right, when a woman come on her cycle, that's just is what it is. And people in other countries, they do that. Over here, you know, they put it up to age, 18. You know, but by the time they even, like what I said, when I was growing up in school, all right, it was already like if I was in middle school, it was already women already giving it up. They was giving it up more than the dudes was even thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? The dudes was in sports, doing what they do. Then they have like they shorty on the side. They play with their homeboys and stuff like that at the court. You know, uh, you know, just sports and shit. Fighting. But like, then you had the shorty. But shorty was always thinking about getting some D. So I don't. Hey man, I just like a week or two ago, I just seen an 11-year-old. Well, not 11-year-old. I think she's like 16 now. I think, or she was like 15, and she was talking about she got pregnant. No, she's 20 something. My bad, y'all. I think she's like 20 or 18. She's like in between there. She grown now though, but she talking about she got pregnant at 11 and her friend her friend, the girl, she was 17 and the dude was 28. She had sex with a 28-year-old at 11. You see? So these women be trapping Jake, a lot of times, but that's just one story. So don't always believe that these women is getting abused and stuff like that. All right. Ain't nobody saying, I'm not telling, I ain't, saying anything about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna leave that subject alone. But sex is marriage, all right, at the end of the day. And then so that's supposed to be your wife. You the one that was you the one that went into her first. That's supposed to be your wife. No matter if she's a virgin at 30, if she's a virgin at 20, or if she's a virgin at 18. All right. If you're the first man to go inside of her, that's your wife now. And that's how it's supposed to be. All right. A piece of paper don't make you married. That's a fallacy. All right, a ceremony don't make you uh uh don't confirms the marriage. That's just a ceremony. All right. So, but you see her, she got a look like a bat in between her nose. One of these liberal bitches, one of the ones that live with a whole bunch of cats and shit. But hey, Trump done said it, man. So, man, it is what it is. You're gonna start seeing a whole bunch of stories come out now. Because you're gonna start seeing a whole bunch of these Caucasians seeking these young women, super young, man. You ain't, yeah, man. And Esau wicked, man. He be trying to do some other shit, So y'all Caucasians, man, y'all different.
We've been watching these disturbing pictures coming to us from Clairton, Pennsylvania over the past hour or so. And we've been getting this word now from the Associated Press that dozens of people, dozens again, may be injured. And in addition to that, emergency crews, we are also hearing, still trying to reach some of those people who are trapped there in some of that rubble. Now, again, we've been watching this video come in. You can see the result of that explosion, which took place just at about 10:50 a.m. this morning. Some of those people, Boris, who live there in Clairton, telling us, one woman said who lives nearby, she said her house shook very violently. She said she was on the front porch when the explosion happened. Another man who also lives in Clairton said the explosion to him felt like an earthquake. Apparently, it started there at the plant at about 10:50 a.m. It started as a fire. The coking plant, located just about 20 miles or so from downtown Pittsburgh.
This just happened like 3 hours ago. I'm just reading straight from the article. At least 3 people are dead, and the suspected gunman is in custody after a shooting at a Target store in Austin, Texas on Monday, today. Austin Police Department Chief Lisa Davis said during a press conference that police responded to reports of a shooting at about 2:15 p.m. And when they arrived, they found 3 people who were shot in the store's parking lot. 32-year-old white man. He stole 2 cars. They tased him later on, took him into custody. Yada, yada, yada. First and foremost, condolences, out to all the people affected. Obviously, 3 people lost their lives. There's more injured. Another mass shooting. Something that has plagued this country for quite some time now, right? And that just happened like 3 hours ago. Real time. Have they done anything about gun violence yet? All these executive orders, everything we've seen since the inauguration, have they done anything about gun laws or gun violence, something that's actively affecting us, something that affected the American people 3 hours ago? And as bad as it is that the answer to that question is no, on top of that, they'll create false issues like heightened crime in the capital, worse than Baghdad. We need the National Guard here. We need to federalize and fortify the capital. They'll create problems, react to those fake problems while ignoring real American issues like gun violence and gun laws and shit like that. When it's mass shootings at schools, Trump will say, oh, well, we have to get past it. We have to move on. When it's the fucking Epstein files, y'all are still talking about Epstein? We have to move on. Well, still, what? Sooner or later, as this peacetime president continues to not provide peace, it's going to be, oh, y'all still talking about the war in Ukraine and Russia? Y'all still talking about Gaza and Israel? Y'all still bringing that up? He'll ignore real issues, make up ones that only support his agenda to be a dictator. Wake the fuck up. And we are the ones left to suffer. 3 people shot dead. Another mass shooting.
So, Georgia just passed a law that goes in effect October 22nd, 2025 at midnight. And with this new child support law, if you are receiving child support and you, one, do not have your own place, meaning if you are not the head of household or the primary residence at that address, you are no longer required by Georgia to receive child support payments through the child support division. If you are a recipient of child support and you have moved more than 2 to 3 times within one calendar year, the state of Georgia is deeming you unfit and unstable. If you are paying child support to a person who does not live, well, is not the primary residence at that address, if they are receiving child support payment and they are bouncing around from place to place, you are required now by the state of Georgia to report that to child support. Child support report that to DFACS. DFACS automatically open up a 30-day case. And if the person that is receiving child support has no adequate place to stay, meaning not with your mama, not with your daddy, not with your auntie, uncle, grandma, meaning if you are not basically a responsible adult, and if you are not fit, you are not deemed to receive child support. That's what DFACS step in. And if they feel or they deem you are unfit, your children can be taken out of their home. And if the person paying can show that they have adequate housing, stability, they are more likely to get the kids. This go in effect October 22nd, 2025. This is a real law. This is a real bill that has been passed. I'm posting everything pertaining to this whole new law all on my TikTok. So if you need or want to know more, tap in with me. Like I said, this is for Georgia and Georgia only.
Like it hit the ground and bounced up.
Should we call somebody?
Yeah.
Delicately open.
I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged-out maniacs, and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it.
What we just heard from the president was not based in reality. He described a crisis that doesn't exist. As we've been saying all morning, violent crime, well, it did go up after the pandemic in D.C. and a lot of other cities, has plummeted over the last couple of years and is at historic lows. That doesn't mean there aren't too many murders in D.C. There've already been 99 this year. There are a lot of gun crimes, there are a lot of carjackings, but it's not, D.C. does not rank among the 25 most violent cities in the United States. And so the picture that you just heard portrayed by the President of the United States over the last half hour is just false.
I'm announcing a historic.
Till next time, Shalom.